My name is Carlton Cartwright. I am the Executive Director for Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. Today is Monday, November 20th, 2023. And of course, this is a Zoom interview. Present on the call is Bill Ware and also Steve Ware. And Bill, when is your birthday?
September 24th, 1937.
Okay, all right. And let me turn this other noise off in the back. Good. What is your current address?
6750 Fall Meadow, that's F-A-L-L, second word Meadow Drive, Fort Worth, Texas, 76132.
Okay, all right, beautiful. All right. What branch of the service were you in?
Army,
Okay. And when did you go into the Army?
1960.
Okay. What were you doing prior to going into the service? And how old were you when you went in the service?
I was 21 years old.
And what were you doing before you went in?
I was in school.
College?
Yes,
Where? And what were you majoring in?
Tuskegee. I was majoring in political science and ROTC.
Okay, good, good. All right. Why did you choose that branch of the service?
Well, my uncle was in the Army. He was in the Army in World War II, and that's about all I knew about the military at that time.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Where was basic training?
I went through basic officers course at Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Mm-hmm. How long was basic training?
I think it was 3 months, I believe.
About 12 weeks.
Yes,
Did did that include your AIT?
No, officers don't have AIT.
Oh, so you went in as an officer.
Yeah, I went in as second lieutenant, yes.
Oh, okay. What was your bachelor's degree in? What was your major? Political
Uh,
science?
yeah, political science and yes, primarily, yes.
Great, great. Okay. So tell me about officer school, OTS. Tell me about officer school. What was that like? Where'd you go? Where was it?
In Fort Eustis, Virginia. Like I
Okay.
said, you like about 12 weeks, and we learned the basics of some of the Army basics and then a little bit about transportation.
Hmm. Was that your MOS, transportation?
Yes, I was transportation officer, yes.
Okay. So after your training time, and by the way, were there any casualties? Anybody get hurt in basic training or in your OTS?
No, no, no. Not in Army transportation, no.
Gotcha.
No.
Okay, so where was your first duty station?
First duty station was in St. Louis, Missouri.
Mhm. And what base?
It was the Army Material Command.
Okay. What base were you on?
It wasn't a base. I was stationed at a federal building in downtown St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So was that a 9 to 5 job or what?
Primarily.
Uh-huh. What were your duties?
I was a logistics officer on an operations research team.
Okay. And so you were how many people were in your unit?
Well, it wasn't a unit; it was an office, and I
Okay.
guess in in the total command, I don't really know, but I'm sure it's probably somewhere around 800 to 1,000, I guess.
Okay. Okay. So how long was your tour there?
It was 3 years.
Okay. How much time did you serve in the military altogether, by the way?
Uh, 29 years and 3 months.
Okay. What was your rank when you separated?
'06, Colonel.
Congratulations. Okay.
Thank
So
you, sir.
how did that tour go? Yeah, I think you said you were there for 3 years.
Yes. Uh-huh.
How was the tour? How did you get along with your fellow officers? Enlisted? How was the food? How was the economy where you were stationed? That had
Well, well, actually, it was an office job, and I lived out in the community, and
right,
they had quarters. They had some barracks that they had left over from World War II and converted them to quarters. And at that time, I had a wife and one child, and we lived there. And it was a good assignment, and I enjoyed it, and it was good.
okay,
I can't say anything about the people. They were very very friendly, and they helped me as a young officer, and went real well.
good news. So where was your did you deploy anywhere over that time period?
No, at that time, that was the 1960, and so so then after that, I was what we call a reserve officer, and I applied for regular army, and I got it. And based on applying for regular army, I had to pick a combat arm, either artillery, infantry, or armor. So I picked infantry, and it's because of that they sent me to Fort Benning for basic infantry training.
Mhm.
So I went down there and I finished that, and after that training, I was sent to Germany, to the 24th Infantry Division in Germany,
How long was
and
that training? How long was the training?
3 months
Where?
at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
go ahead. And then you went where? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, then I went from there to Germany, and I was in the 24th Division for 2 years at what they call a combat tour, 2 years there. And I was a platoon leader in a mechanized infantry battalion, the first of the 21st. And after I finished that tour, I moved over to Garrison, transportation officer for Munich post. The division was in Munich at that time. No, it was in Augsburg, but my battalion was in Munich. And after I finished my tour, then I went over to the Garrison post to be the transportation officer for Munich post area.
Okay. How long were you there?
Total in time in Germany at that time 3 years.
Okay. And so tell me about all the places you got to visit while you were there. Where'd you travel to? Did you go either deploy or go on R&R?
No, at that time, Vietnam hadn't done anything yet, and we got a chance to visit, go down into Italy, Austria, uh, Switzerland, all over Germany. Uh, and let's see, I think during that time, yeah, I went all over Germany, and that was about it on that assignment because I had a
Okay.
child.
You had what?
And so at that time, I'm getting a little confused here now.
Take it easy. Take your time.
Yeah, okay. I went over, and at that time we had, let's see, I went over to Germany. Oh. Then when we went over to Germany, I had 3 kids. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Uh, and then when I got there, we had two. Uh, no, no, no. Let me go back. I'm screwing this up. I
It's okay.
guess we went over there. We had one because Stephen, my son, was born in Germany,
Right.
and I had two daughters born there. So must have had a boy and a girl when we went over there.
Right.
hmm
Okay. All right.
hmm So
Next
ended up
duty.
over there. We had 5 kids while we were in Germany on that tour.
Okay.
hmm
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So what was the next duty station?
Next duty station, I came back from Germany and I went to Fort Eustis again. Yeah, I went to Fort Eustis. I'm trying to think. I've been Fort Eustis. Yeah, I went back to Fort Eustis, yeah, for the advanced course.
So you went back to school.
Yeah, went back to school. Yeah, yeah.
And what was that training in, and how long was the training?
It was called the Transportation Officer Advanced Course, where you learned about all the aspects of transportation, like staff level stuff, and uh, that's about it. And basically, it was just an advanced level, and then when you came out, you were supposedly a certified transportation officer.
Okay.
So, uh-huh.
So where did they send you after that training? Would you get more
Uh,
into?
after that training, I went to Vietnam
For how long?
for 1 year.
Uh-huh. And what were your responsibilities there? What rank were you at this time?
I was, let's see, at that time, I was, what did I do? I'm trying to think what I did in Vietnam. The first time, uh, let's see, trying to think
You're a
what I did
captain
on,
then.
yeah, I was a captain and on that first time, and I'm trying to think of what I did. I went to Saigon,
Okay.
and I was assigned to a technical intelligence detachment, and I worked with those folks for the whole entire time.
What were your responsibilities?
I was the technical transportation, supposedly the transportation technical expert to go into the technical aspects of transportation and the whole thing in terms of we did tactical studies, terrain studies. We put out uh, documents which we sent to the field, which showed where the roads were and all that kind of stuff. And I was more or less the transportation input guy, but I did more than that. In fact, I did very little transportation. I did more mapping and uh, that kind of work.
Did you do any battle planning?
Not battle planning. What we did was we had these studies that we did, and we take into consideration all of B-52 strikes, the secondary explosions, the agent reports, and all that stuff, and we compile that stuff into a document
We lost
that
you on
was.
video, Dad.
Okay. We we
Go ahead.
we'd incorporate that stuff into what we call it was a tactical map. It was a map, and you out in the field, you're a combat leader. You could look at that map and see the routes, and it would almost indicate where the VC or the North Vietnamese were to cut through the secondary explosions from the B-52s, the agent reports, the
You just did something to turn your camera off.
okay, let me turn around. How did I turn around?
You have to turn it back on.
Turn it back on. Okay.
Yep.
What did I do? Okay, turn it back around. Okay, here we go. Okay, back again?
Nope.
Nope. So I gotta go back. Let's see back
The thing
here.
that says stop videos.
Okay, what about now?
Nope.
Okay, what about now? That's
No.
you. Me. Let's see, go back here.
I sent you a request. Oh, it's. Are you there?
Okay, oh, I got a star video.
There you go.
Good. There
Okay,
you
you hear
go.
me now?
Yep, you're fine.
Okay, okay.
Can you pick up where you left off?
Yeah, I say we used to make those tactical
And
studies.
we're like looking at your chin. Can you bring it up so we have more of your face?
Yeah, but
Good.
okay, I don't
That's a
see
lot better.
myself.
There you go. That's fine.
Okay, okay. And we would do these studies, and based on that, they were about the size of a one of the tactical maps that we use in the military. Are you familiar with those? But
Some.
anyway, yeah, well,
I did
those
logistics
maps.
in California with a general and a colonel, but that was a
Yeah,
long time
okay,
ago. Go ahead.
okay, and we would superimpose all this stuff on the map, and then a leader out there or somebody who is determining, say, where they would do B-52 strikes, or they would concentrate artillery, or they would conduct a operation. They would look on this map, and those points would be kind of highlighted based on all these overlays of all these things that happen. So you could look at a road, and right here you got a concentration of things going on. So this would tell you that maybe something's going on there.
Okay.
And that's basically we made those, and had to put them out, I think once a week or once a month or something like that, to the tactical units up in the field, out the
Right.
field.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, were there any casualties in your unit?
Not my unit. No, I was called a Saigon Warrior.
Okay. Why is that? Why did they call you the Saigon Warrior?
Well, not a whole lot went on in Saigon. Most of the activity was out in the boondocks, where the combat troops were out there, and then we had a few things happen in Saigon. Every once in a while, they would throw a grenade in a jeep, or somebody would get lost, or we had a guy that they told him to stay off the. It was on Tet, and they told him to stay off the street, and he went out there taking pictures, and he got hit by a. Now he wasn't in my unit. Now he got hit by a rocket and killed. But yeah, if he had done what he was supposed to do, he wouldn't have had a problem. But as far as Saigon was concerned, there wasn't a whole lot of how you say activity from a military standpoint there. Uh-huh.
Engage. There wasn't that much engaging the enemy.
No, only time I can remember, as Thompson Newt was the air base, and I lived downtown in a hotel,
Right.
and we used to drive from the hotel to the airport. One day the traffic was backed up, and everybody was complaining about they couldn't get to work. But what happened was the PC had infiltrated the airfield, and there was a firefight on the airfield, so they couldn't let anybody in. So they finally ended up getting the guys and ran them off or something like that. So we went to work, and I thought that was kind of ironic that people we were complaining to get to work, and folks out there fighting the VC on the base. But
Okay.
that's where it was. That was Saigon.
Uh-huh. So, what was your next duty assignment?
After that, I came back and I went to Fort Eustis, Virginia again,
Hmm.
and I was assigned to the transportation school as an instructor. And
How long
and
were
we
you
were
there?
te- I was there for a year,
Okay.
and we instructed the uh, uh, well, mainly lieutenants coming through in a basic course, and then we had some specialty courses that we gave to those folks that were going over. It was kind of like a prep them on what they received when the kind of things they run into when they got over there.
Right.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, after that year, what was the next duty assignment?
I went back to Vietnam,
Hmm. What
and
rank were you now? What rank did you move up?
I went.
Major.
Yeah, I was a major. I
Uh-huh.
went back to, and I was assigned to a movements control center, and that was located in Cam Ranh Bay, Vietnam. and what we did there is what we more or less were traffic control people for all the cargo and personnel coming into Vietnam in our sector. And our sector was up in the area around Cam Ranh Bay, uh, uh, in central Vietnam.
How long was
And
that tour this time in Vietnam?
it was 1 year. 1 year.
Any casualties? Fatalities?
No, we had it. Some of the folks going out in the boondocks, the convoys, and they sometimes sustain.
Can you hold on? Slow down. Stop right there. Your sound is going in and out, and the camera keeps moving. Can you stop that? Now all right, you muted yourself again.
Okay, unmute. Okay, what about right
Okay.
now? Better?
Yeah. Now, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, and we're talking about a trip to Vietnam. I was assigned to a movement control center,
Right.
and like you say, we were traffic managers for our cargo and the people uh, in and out. Well, actually, yeah, in and out of Vietnam, and also within Vietnam. We had our own a little airline, which was run by the Air Force with C-130s and C-119s primarily, C-119s and C-130s.
Right.
Mhm. And so I did that for 1 year, and then I came back and I went to Fort Monroe, which was called the Continental Army Command, and I was assigned. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. No.
And it's no longer exists. I think it went in. They changed it into three separate armies. But anyway, I was a staff officer there on the combat developments group, and I stayed there for a year, and then after that, I went from there to Thailand.
Okay. Did you
Hmm.
make colonel yet? Lieutenant colonel?
Uh, yeah, I made colonel. Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm lieutenant colonel. Yeah, and I went to Thailand as a logistics officer on the Coma Smack Thai staff there in Thailand in Bangkok, and I stayed there for 3 years, and no, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years,
Okay.
and then I was returned from there, and I went back. Let's see, I went back to. I think I went back to. Let's see, I'm getting a little confused here.
Take
I
your
should have
time.
wrote that. I went as the.
Take your time.
I'm getting my trips. The first Vietnam trip, I went over and I was in Saigon. Okay, and then I came back from Saigon. I think um, I went to transportation school. Okay,
Okay.
then I went from the transportation school. I think I went back to Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and that's when I was uh, uh, in the movement control. Okay, then I went back to uh, Continental Army Command. Okay,
Okay.
okay, and there, I guess what was I there? I guess I was a logistics officer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to get to. Let's see. Get a little confused
It's
here.
okay.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
didn't we go
Uh-huh.
to Thailand from Newport News when we lived Newport News then we came
Yeah,
back.
okay, yeah. I was at Konark, yeah, then, and
Okay,
then I went to Thailand, like I said, and then from Thailand I came back.
To Hampton, right?
Uh, I came back to Hampton, and I'm not sure. Well, see, that's what I said. We came back. I came back to. Did I come back to Hampton? I come back to Fort Eustis. I think I came back to Fort Eustis.
We lived in Hampton. I'm not sure if you
Yeah, somewhere I got a little confused. Yeah, hold on. I got a little book here. Hold on. Wait.
okay. I'm
Carlton,
gonna
how
put,
much time you have, Carlton?
I'm gonna
Huh?
pause.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. Okay. I was in Vietnam from '66 to '67 in Saigon. I told you that.
Right,
Okay, and then I was in Vietnam again from 1969 to 1970, Cameron Bay.
right.
Okay, in 1966, oh, that was my job. That was a combined intelligence center. Well, that just tells me that this one tells me what I did in those two tours to Vietnam, and
Okay,
I just getting a little confused of where I went when I came back.
okay.
Uh-huh. Okay. And okay, where are we now?
You tell me. What was your next duty station?
Okay, after Thailand,
Right.
yeah, I think after let's see, Thailand. Let's see, after Thailand, Stephen, how's he gone?
Yeah, I'm here. After Thailand, we moved to. I know we moved to Hampton. I'm not sure whether you were
Uh,
at Fort
ha-
or Fort Eustis then, though. So
okay, I came back to Fort to Hampton, Virginia, and I think I was assigned to uh I think I was assigned to get back to Fort Eustis.
Okay. For how
Mhm.
long this time?
Uh, it was for 3 years.
Okay, and you're also by now you're a lieutenant colonel, right?
Right, Lieutenant Colonel. Yeah, yeah.
What year was that?
Uh, that had to be about 1960. See, when I went to
we were about 74 there, about 74.
74, 74, 75 in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so how long were you there this time?
Uh, Until about 77.
No, 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. So again, just to go back, any fatalities, any casualties that you remember?
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah. But my commentary now. I don't remember seeing anybody getting killed or even hurt. The only thing I saw was flying into Da Nang on a C-130, looking out the window, and I saw these dots on the runway, and I looked at them, and they got a little bigger, and I asked the guy next to me or somewhere. I said, "What are those dots?" He said, "Those are body bags for the Marines who got killed. Was that hill they were fighting over, Quezon? But they were
Exxon.
lined up. They were lined up down the runway to be transported, I guess, back to the United States. That's about the extent of casualties that I saw.
Gotcha. Can you estimate how many body bags were out there on the
No,
target?
I'd say it had to be at least 100, at
Okay.
least 100. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. What was your next duty assignment?
Okay. From then I went to Bremerhaven, Germany,
Uh-huh. And what was
and
your responsibilities? Go ahead.
I was commander of Bremerhaven Terminal, uh, which was responsible for the POVs and cargo and ammunition coming into Europe to support the troops in the European theater.
Okay.
Hmm.
How long were you there?
3 years.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and so what was your next duty station?
My next duty station was
But Dan, you asked a
well.
question about casualties, Carlton. I think he had some casualties there in Bremerhaven.
Oh,
Oh
really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What
We did
happened?
have
That's
cat.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What happened was we had what we call roll on, roll off ships. And these
Uh,
ships would come into Bremerhaven from the States bringing over cargo, and mainly this would be vehicles. Well, the ship came in and it was roll on, roll off, and it had some tanks on it along with POVs. And one of the guys in our outfit, he got in the tank because he normally would drive them off. You know, you have to drive them through the tank and then down the ramp to the pier. Well, the tanks that were on there this time were not the ones that normally come over. These were a new type tank.
uh-huh.
And the blade on the tank was a lot smaller than the blade on the let me say tank. It was a
Uh-huh.
bulldozer tank. And the blades were smaller. So he was driving the tank off and he got to the ramp. And sometimes you have to gun it a little bit to go over the ramp. Well, he thought that the somehow he did judge we call it the dozer part in the front. What do you call that? Can't think. What do you call that thing in the front, Steve?
Just a blade that you said.
Blade. He didn't judge the blade,
Right.
and he pushed the blade down too low for some reason. That blade went into the hinges on the ship and cut right through and went straight down into the water. Now you know these hinges are probably maybe a foot, well maybe 2 3 foot long and a foot wide. So you're talking about the weight of a tank and this blade. They went straight down in the water. I think it there was probably about 60 foot and a lot of a lot of seaweed and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we lost him in that tank, and that I guess that's the only time I remember Stephen or Carlton.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. So where'd you go after Bremerhaven?
After Bremerhaven, we went to Fort Sheridan, Virginia.
Hmm.
Fort Sheridan, Illinois, and I was assigned as the IG in the IG's office for the Military Enlistment Processing Command. That's where when you joined up, you went there and took your physical and your ASVAB and all that.
Right.
Yeah, and I was the IG on that group. I think I was the deputy IG. That's what it was. Yeah,
How long were you
and
there? Uh-huh.
I was there for 3 years.
Hmm.
Hmm. And
Any,
then
go ahead.
go ahead. You go ahead.
No, you go. Go ahead.
No, it was actually I was signed the first year and a half we were stationed at Fort Sheridan. The second year and a half they moved the headquarters up to Great Lakes on the
Uh-huh.
Navy base. It was on a Navy base. So at at that time, in the meantime, I had made colonel when I came over to Bremerhaven.
Right.
Okay, and so when I finished up my tour at Great Lakes, I decided to take one more tour, and I went to Alabama A&M University as the professor of military science.
Nice.
So I went there for 3 years. Good tour. It was in Huntsville, Alabama, and I finished that tour. And then we took one more tour, and I went to Naples, Italy. I was a logistics officer on the Southern NATO staff in Naples.
Yep.
and I was like I said, logistics officer, and I did that for 3 years, and then from there I retired.
Gotcha.
Hmm
Um, Now looking back on your career, well, tell me about your
hmm
medals. What kind of medals do you have?
I think Legion of Merit, uh, Bronze Star twice. We call it the one for the Army. What's the best one in the Army? You get in the Army, Stephen. Good, no, not good conduct.
Meritorious Service Medal.
Meritorious. That's for a joint, and the other one is the Army Commendation Medal.
Okay.
Hmm
Besides all the places that you mentioned that you traveled, um, any other places that you traveled either on R&R or being deployed that you can remember that you have not already mentioned?
I went on. Well, it's
One
part
second.
of NATO. You still there?
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
As a part of NATO, we got to go to Istanbul, Turkey.
Hmm.
Went to Spain. To what's the capital of Spain? Went to the capital of Spain,
Madrid.
Madrid. Yeah, I used to go to Rome once a month. We had a meeting in Rome, which was right around the corner from the Vatican.
Right. Wow.
We went. Let's see. I guess those are the main places I went to. Yeah. And went to Greece. I went to Greece. Went to Athens.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so I think that was about it. And as I said, on when I was with the family, when I was on R&R in Vietnam, I went to Hawaii and I also went to Bangkok.
Okay. Nice.
Hmm
Your education.
hmm
How far did you take your professional education? You got your bachelor's, you got a master's and a doctorate?
No. I have a bachelor's, and then I worked on my master's, but I didn't finish it.
Okay. I'm just curious, what were you majoring in
And it
for
was
your
a
master's?
master's. I think I was majoring in counseling, I believe.
Okay, good. Good for
hmm
you.
hmm No,
All
let,
right.
let me go back. Let me go back again to what I was majoring in Tuskegee. I was
Okay.
majoring in industrial education. That was my primary industrial education, and I minored in political science.
Right.
Hmm
Okay, cool. How old were you when you separated from the military?
I think I
Like you
was 50.
retired?
I think I was 51, I believe.
What did you do? What did you do after you separated? Did you simply retire or did you go find another job?
Well, I retired for about a year,
Mhm.
and then I retired in Mobile, Alabama,
Right.
and I got kind of involved in the local nonprofit, and I volunteered at the YMCA, which eventually took over as an unpaid executive director because they fired the director, and I did that for about a year, got that back running again, and then I left there, and I went to uh, let's see. I left there and I went. So where did I say? Mobile, Alabama. Yeah, I left there and I went to. Oh, I subbed to the schools for a while. Did that,
Okay.
and then I got a job with an agency, a community action agency, and I worked there as the director of operations. Oh, for maybe about 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
And then I went from there to an outfit called Area Agency on Aging, and I was kind of in sales there. These little penny ante jobs, really tell you the
Right.
truth. And then after that, we moved to from Mobile to join in with my one of the youngest daughters, a twin. They were up here, and she was working and her husband was working and they had a son, and came up to help them. So we moved up here to Fort Worth in 2000. We moved to Fort Worth, And when I got here, I went to work for a agency. It was called 60 and Better that helped seniors. And I worked there as kind of a substitute center director. They had about 20 or 30 centers. I used to go out to the centers and fill in when the directors were out for a month or a day, and I did that for a pretty good while, and then after that, I see what I see center, and I kept going at that doing.
At the
And
VA
then,
then?
and then I went to volunteer at the VA. So I
Okay.
volunteered at the VA since 2009, and I've been volunteering on the front desk ever since then on Monday afternoon for 4 hours a day, which I'll be going there today, this
Okay.
evening when we get out.
So
Yeah.
you still working?
Oh yeah, I'm still doing something. The three to life: one, heredity; two, lack of stress; and three, keep moving.
Okay. All right.
Those are secrets.
Few more questions.
Okay.
Whenever you were on that, well, it sounds like your family was with you. So, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway.
Uh,
While you were on active duty, did you ever have any problems staying in touch with your family?
no, not really.
Okay.
Even when I was in Vietnam, I used to send tapes back, and my wife told me don't do that. And we talk on the phone and all that kind of stuff. So even no, never had a problem.
Okay. Overall, how was the food throughout your military career?
I give it a good rating. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed eating the mess hall, eating breakfasts. That's probably why I got all these high blood pressure problems now.
Okay. Um, okay. Um, did you experience a lot of pressure in your jobs over that period? You went in 1960, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And when did you get out?
Got out in 1989,
All right.
August.
So over the
Mhm.
29-year period, did you experience a lot of stress in the variety of jobs that you had?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's when I was a lieutenant in the infantry, stressed out there in the boondocks, and I mean it was. I'm not gonna say it was a continuous stress, but there were jobs that were stressful. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was all a piece of cake.
How did you
You
deal
got.
with the stress? How did you deal with it?
I had no choice. I had 5 kids and a wife, so I didn't have any choice. I had to deal with it, and I always say when was it worth going over the cross for? And if going to the cross, and I look behind me and say, "Oh, yep." So,
Okay.
so I'd have to do it. So it wasn't any whether I was going to do it or not. I had to. Now, whether I did it completely right all the time, I don't know. But I did my best, and I tried to, you know, I don't know how to say it, but I just did what I had to do when I had to do it, and because I couldn't afford to do anything else. And I always kind of when I was coming up, I always had the feeling I couldn't let my folks down. And
Right.
this way, I couldn't let my family down either. And
I
because,
understand.
yeah.
Okay. Did you retain any friendships from the military?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, I talked to a friend of mine yesterday. He's kind of dealing with dementia a little bit. He and I were lieutenants together in Fort Eustis, second lieutenants living right next door to each other. And we talk to each other about once a month. But a lot of the other guys have gone on to glory. They got on the bus already. So not too many left.
Gotcha. I know that feeling.
Mhm.
Um, okay, let's see. So the GI Bill supported your education, correct?
That after I got out of service?
Well, during or after?
No, I was in ROTC. I don't know whether you call that the GI Bill or not.
Right.
I
No.
went through ROTC. It was government, it was government, but I don't know about GI Bill as such.
Did you use your GI Bill for anything?
Yeah, I used it to go to school after I got out. That's I said, I worked toward my master's. I
Okay.
used
Right.
it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And what about medical?
Oh yeah, I used the medical while in the service, and after I got out, I used it in the VA.
Great.
Mhm.
Okay. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
I think about the reason why I'm where I'm at right now, in a pretty good position, and I think the kids are too. A lot of it had to do with the military, my choosing to go in the military and make a career, because it was a little bit different kind of life. It's like a country club in a way. And and I don't think it hurt me or the family at all. And I have some of the things I saw, and it's kind of hard now in reading on things that happened. And I said, was I guess I was doing my part, what I had to do, and I signed up to do it, and so I did it. But I look at some of the things going on now, and look at some of the background of why we are where we're here where we are now.
Right.
I, I can I can see uh,
I need
that
you to stay in the picture. I'm losing you again. You need to. There you go.
okay. Okay.
All right.
I'm thinking.
Go ahead. Go
I'm
on. Try to
thinking.
finish your thought. Try to finish your
Okay.
thought.
Yeah, and kind of, I'm looking at it, and one thing I forgot to tell you, I
What's
did
that?
do a year in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I'm trying to think that where that fit in. Oh, Jesus. And I did a real. Oh, I know where that was probably when I was a staff officer in combat developments. I think they needed someone to go over there for a year, and I went over there for a little less than a year, and
Hmm.
that was kind of eye opening too with the Saudis, and also I've read about a part that I played in what was going on. This was in 1970, around 74,
Uh-huh.
75. And that's when you remember when the oil and gas went way up high, and they had the ships. You may not be old enough for that, but they had the ships
Yes, I am.
sitting offshore. Well, I went over there on a team, about a four-man team, to help the Saudis with their port congestion. And the port congestion was created by them and their development program of trying to improve their country. So to try to improve their country, they increased the price of oil because we had been paying pennies on a dollar for the oil. And
Right.
so they raised the price. When they raised the price, and the price went up back here in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Now, now they raised the price in order to develop their country. So when they started developing the country, they came to the United States to get help. So the Corps of Engineers, with all Bechtel, you ever heard of Bechtel and all those folks?
Vector?
Bechtel, Bechtel, Bectel, Bechtel Corporation.
I think so. I think so. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. They're one of the largest, we're one of the largest engineering companies in the world.
Okay.
Well, they, along with the big folks, were doing the development for the Saudi government.
Uh-huh.
And so because of all this development, and they were buying all this stuff, and it all came into their ports that weren't capable of accepting this stuff. So they had ships sitting out in the harbor for 75 days, and some of them had cement on them, and it would rain, and the rain would go in and harden the cement, and the ships would sink right out in the water.
Wow.
The water. So it that was a real experience for me, and it also told me that I'm not a real fan of the Saudi government. And from
Oh,
what I saw, what they did when I was there, and what I have seen and read about in pretty reliable sources after that.
gotcha.
Uh,
Okay,
but
one more question.
yeah. Uh-huh.
How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Well, I have a hard time comparing. I always say, what would I have done if I had not come into the military? And I don't know, but I don't think I think it's really helped me in my life. And on this end, I'm on the other end now. And a lot of things were built in the retirement, the health care. I have the best health care in the world with Medicare and TRICARE for life. Uh, So a lot of things the kids have done well. I think when they were in school in the military schools, I think they didn't bother them at all. They got experience of seeing overseas to meet people from all over the world, so they have a world perspective. I think it's been in total, it's been I think a complete how you say reward to me and
Okay.
my family. And Stephen may not go along with, but that's the way I look at it. And I'm looking around at my contemporaries out here in civilian life and all, and I don't think being in the military at that time has has hurt me in any way, that I can see fit. Yeah, that I can see.
By the way,
Mhm.
throughout your military career, did you ever experience any discrimination or any racial incidences?
When I was in, I'd say that most of it came when I was in the infantry.
Mhm.
Uh, and I can remember in the officers' mess, we had we used to have tent for where we went, and then we had a orderly, and he would bring the food in. And one day the battalion commander called him Stephen Fetchit, and after he'd gone out, so he forgot that I was there. So he looked over at me and he said, "I guess I put uh, my foot in my mouth."
Uh-huh.
And so what I did, I just took my fork and knife, put it on my plate, and got up and walked out. And that was one time. I'm trying to think of another. And then it was kind of coincidence. I ran into that guy he was at that time, he was a lieutenant colonel, and I was a lieutenant. I ran into him in Huntsville, and he was at the officers club, and I was a full colonel, and I think he had retired as colonel.
Right.
It's kind of way things went around. But I'm trying to think of any other thing when I was in the military. Well, that was no, I can't. Let's see. Nobody ever called me any names out of any
Right.
names.
Right.
Only one other thing. When I got promoted to colonel, I was
Yeah.
at Fort Eustis, and there was another guy there on a contemporary, and he when I got picked up, he kind of intimated that I might have got picked up on account of affirmative action. And I don't know what I said or did or what anything, but anyway, those about the only two things. They're kind of, you know, eh, it's
Is there
kind of
anything else
difficult.
that
Yeah.
you is there anything else that you'd like to share with us that you have not?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay.
Yeah, you
No,
want to talk about Muhammad Ali?
Say it
about
again,
Marion,
Stephen.
Yeah.
my wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my wife was with me from the time we graduated from we left Tuskegee in
Uh-huh.
1959, and she went with me everywhere. The kids went everywhere except for Vietnam and to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And I think we had a good time together. And she was right there. She passed in 2016 on
Sorry for your
April the
loss.
1st. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
April the 1st. Yeah, and we miss her.
I see.
But
Okay, well, I
other
want
than
to
that,
thank you. Huh?
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to thank you for a wonderful interview, and I also want to thank you for your service.
Okay, let me ask one question. Stephen, anything else you think I need to add to this?
There you go.
Stephen?
No,
Steven?
I think you hit it all well.
We got it?
I
Okay.
learned some things too for myself.
Okay.
All right, hold on. I'm going to
Uh,
stop the recording.